Joining me now from the Hudson Institute, Michael Pillsbury. Michael, President Trump really did sound optimistic there. And I can tell you, it seems to me, watching this very closely over the last 2 or 3 weeks, he has made these sort of comments that I want to get a deal. Yes. We're close to getting a deal. 142, 143 things on the list, 4 or 5 big things left out. What could those things possibly be?
Well, Charles, in the area of what the president calls the non-negotiable list, that's the sensitive part. That's something you've discussed a lot, the technology theft. They don't want to acknowledge that they've done that, when obviously they have. There is the good news of the day. I mean, the reason the president's correct and the market is up a little bit is that they're willing to talk at all. They're willing to meet us on some issues. That's the good news. I think what the president's responding to is the speech by the Prime Minister of China, Keqiang, just in the last few hours, that they're willing to negotiate a number of things, but they're trying to portray this not as a U.S.-China negotiation so much as China was going to do all this anyway, Charles. This came out of a speech last week as well, where they said China's going to open wider than it has in the last 40 years. So these positive messages are quite different than the last 6 months. As you remember, when President Trump's team, actually, Steve Mnuchin and others went to Beijing, they presented this long list the president's talking about today. China ignored it for 6 months.
Right.
So that's the progress we're seeing the president talk about today. Obviously, there's a long way to go. And the real talks, I think, will begin only when Bob Lighthizer, maybe Jared Kushner, start to get into the meat of this. But as you know, Charles, the Chinese love last-minute deals. That's the most important thing I can stress. The next 14 days are going to be very, very important. So this announcement today is sort of like President Trump is now engaged with China, and they have made some sort of written offer, which I think the White House is correct to keep secret for the time being.
You know, the part that on that soundbite we heard when he says, and I think we'll probably get those too, it sounded like, okay, you know what, like we don't have to get all of them. I think we might. Again, just reading between the lines, it felt like, you know, this is a major accomplishment thus far, even though everyone's trying to tamp down the expectations for all of the reasons you just mentioned. You know, but having said that, one of the things I'm frustrated with, and I think a lot of other folks, is the inconsistent communication from the White House.
Yes.
One day, you know, listen, Peter Navarro, he's passionate. I like him. He's a smart guy. He'll come out very strong and say some very powerful things. The next day, he's rebuked by Larry Kudlow. We never hear from Lighthizer, who I want to hear from more than anyone else. Is this a problem? Because what I find, Michael, is that you have the globalists who get to go out there and seize upon this. and listen, they don't want a deal. I really don't think they want a deal. I don't think they want the status quo upset, or they just want this out of the way so they can get back to just simply making money, you know. And so
yes.
Does the White House understand that that's not necessarily helping? I don't even think it helps with respect to their Chinese counterparts.
I know you're concerned, Charles. I have pretty close contacts with the White House, and I can tell you the problem is very well understood. The two sides rebuking each other, frankly, and these two different points of view. But the important thing to keep in mind is they both channel parts of President Trump's vision. President Trump is a deal maker. He's very proud of it. I've been telling everybody in the White House about this Chinese phrase, Tao Jia Huan Jia. It's a phase we're going into in the next 2 weeks. Tao Jia means to discuss the price. Huan Jia means to change the price. So in these last 2 weeks, I'd like to see Steve Mnuchin, for example, go public and condemn the Chinese for their technology theft and really be tough on them. I'd like to see Peter Navarro say something a little bit more positive about getting into a deal. But they both represent the president's view. Doesn't that hurt the sensibilities of our Chinese counterparts? Isn't that one of the rubs right now? Hey, you know, it's not even about the actual deal as much as saving face. Wouldn't that make it tougher, Michael, for them to save face if indeed on the eve of this meeting we start to rub this in their face? No, I think pressure is still important on China. As I said, they like these last-minute deals. Something struck maybe at Buenos Aires itself. And to get there, we can't let up on the pressure now.
Right,
That's why if they see their friend Steve Mnuchin say something tough, that will help a lot.
I got you. Okay, I understand the psychology a little bit better now. Hey, you know what? At least if we can get beyond even a simple framework, I think Wall Street would be pleased, and I believe we're going to get a deal one way or the other. Thanks a lot, Michael. We always appreciate your expertise.
Charles, that's the Mandarin phrase, Tao Jia Huan Jia.
I'm going to work on it. I ain't got nothing else to do this weekend. Thanks a lot.